everyone, it's Jazz from the West Ham Iron Channels, and we're doing episode number 2 of the new series we started yesterday, which is We Were There. So, first of all, welcome. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Nice and bright this morning, then.
Yep.
And Nick, you were one of the you are one of the lucky ones who was there on that day in what is it, April the 14th, 1976, mate.
Yeah. 18 years old at the time. Absolutely chucked it down during the game, but my God, the atmosphere on that night was, I've never had anything like it since or before. It was brilliant. Trevor Brooking was just phenomenal that night. He just glided over the mud. It was just a heaped in mud.
Well, I'll tell you what, I watched the kind of, I think it's about 10 minutes you get on YouTube, and I watched it yesterday, and you can, from watching it, obviously, the atmosphere just comes through, and it's always mentioned, especially when we left Upton Park, it goes down as one of the historical days. And like I was mentioning yesterday to our guest, John, the pitch was awful. And I didn't realize that it was that bad, especially the weather in terms of rain, Nick, that they felt there was a chance the game wasn't going to go ahead earlier in the day or before the game, and they had an inspection, and it did, didn't it, mate? So
yeah. It just wouldn't now. But in those days, I was still on the North Bank, same as John, and you had to get there really early. Every game I got there early to get behind the goal, sort of in the middle of the goal, and even more that night. I said the crowd was 42,000, but I'd say it was getting closer to 50,000.
I'll tell you what, the official figures are just under 40,000. It's 39 something, I think 39,000 something. But back then,
definitely more than that. Yeah, it was crushed, to be honest.
Well, I hope everyone was safe, especially the little ones, put them to the front and that kind of thing. But yeah, you don't know, do you? I know people used to get in if they're a bit late, pay the gate man, like my dad used to say, give him a little something and you'll open the gate so you get you in if you're a bit late and things like that, really.
You literally have to turn up a couple of hours before to get a good place in the middle.
Where did you used to commute from back then? Whereabouts did you used to live roughly back in those days?
Then I lived in Chislehurst.
And how long was your journey normally?
About an hour-ish. Yeah, about an hour on the tube.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Not too bad.
Not bad at all.
And then you used to go to a lot of the games during that season, or kind of?
Yeah, I used to go to virtually every game. Yeah. Not many away, but virtually every home game, because you didn't have to have a season ticket. Away games were easier to go to because you didn't have to buy a ticket. You just turn up. Then it was as long as you got into the ground or got to the ground to get in there early, you were fine.
That's the main thing. Leading up to the game, what I'm learning is that it wasn't a particularly successful league season for West Ham. We stumbled to 18th place finish, 6 points above the relegation. FA Cup, we kind of went out to Liverpool 2-0 in the third round. Spurs knocked us out in the fourth round of the League Cup. So really, that season, we all our joy and comforts came through this tournament, which to our youngest viewers, Europa used to be called the European Cup Winners' Cup. And talking to John yesterday, Nick, I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I don't know why they messed about with the format of the cups. I think UEFA Cup, which used to be, I believe, teams that finished second to sixth, and then we used to have the European Cup, which was for champions only, wasn't it? So I don't know what your feelings are around that. I mean, do you think champions should only be first or things like that?
We valued the European competitions because they're going so much further down in different countries, especially, that the quality of it isn't as good. And the UEFA Cup, as what we're in now, what used to be the UEFA Cup, that used to be a very hard competition. Because you had teams who were still top of their leagues, and every year they used to vie for winning their league, and they used to get into that competition. So one year you could finish second in your league, like Liverpool did in '76. The year before they got into the UEFA Cup, '76 they won the UEFA Cup and they won the league. and it was always teams like that around it. But going back to our form, we started off 75 to 76 really, really well.
We always did, didn't we?
Yeah,
Always, like, up to
we
Christmas.
started really well, and I thought, oh, we could do something here. And then injuries hit us again. Always had not a big enough squad, or not enough quality in the squad, and then it tailed off. And then it was obvious we were concentrating on the Cup Winners' Cup.
I think
that was obvious.
Yeah, I think speaking to John yesterday, and from what I remember watching the old games, I think West Ham used to be a bit of a lose 4-3, win 4-3, 5-4-2. You know, lots of goals up front, a lot of entertainment. That's why they were what used to be called everyone's second team, wasn't it? Back then, if your team's not playing, let's go to Upton Park to watch a game. Really, where did you watch the game from? By the way, whereabouts in the ground were you?
In the North Bank.
Right, that's same as John. And actually, Steve on tonight, he's North Bank as well. So all three of you, North Bank. Here's a ticket from that game, Nick, and it's telling me it's West Ham, which is my favourite part of the ground back then, and it's £2, and that seems reasonably a lot of money, £2 back then. I mean, I know the West End is it is most expensive, isn't it, around there? But so I don't know if you. Yeah,
I can't remember what money I was on then. I ain't got a clue. I mean, it's 46 years ago. So I couldn't tell you the cost of living, really.
Did you
I was a single man living at home, so.
Yeah. Did you keep any mementos or any souvenirs from the match or anything?
I've got every ticket I've ever had from every final, and I've got every program. My mementos are I've got every shirt from the 60s apart from 3, all originals.
Oh my God, the museum, mate. That is amazing.
Every single shirt original since the 60s, apart from about 3. And I've got 2 of those now, ones you can just buy online, copies. But I've got original shirts, home, away, and third kit.
That's amazing.
I've got some minutes from a board meeting from 1968. Tucked away.
Wow. I mean, what I've done now, because I like watching people like Nigel Khan, who knows a lot about the history of West Ham. And what I've done is I've subscribed to an auction site, and if there's anything in the country to do with West Ham, it gives me an alert. So I don't know if you're into collections. I can forward you the details later on. So yeah. Not that you're going to buy anything, but it goes in you. Yeah. And there's things like what you've said. There's match tickets, there's stubs, there's programs, there's signed originals from the 50s, 60s, 70s, all kinds of stuff that's in there, really. So something might pop in there that might interest you, really. Yeah. And so we'll see. Well, this is the program, mate, from there, because that came into when I was collecting it. So these were the size of the programs, everyone, up until 83, 84, where they got a bit bigger. So certainly a lot easier. And back then there was the Jack Hillier and Sons, the printing guys from Barking Road, that they were part of. Obviously, Jack was a West Ham historian, used to have a column in there, and those were the West Ham printers back then, really. So this is 10 pence, everyone. So £2 was a ticket in West Ham, as an example. 10 pence was the ticket. And like you said, sort of getting in there, what would you do in terms of food? Would you eat before you go in there, or was there, like John said, there's only peanuts in the ground he used to eat back then?
Yeah.
Was that for everyone, was it?
A set of twins used to walk around. One week they go to West Ham, and the next week they go to Tottenham, and they used to literally walk around peanuts. And to wind them up, a lot of fellas used to say, "Over here, mate, over here." And they used to walk up to the area where they thought they heard the voice from. And the fella didn't want any peanuts. It was just a joke to make them walk around,
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, we covered that in our Green Street thing. And everyone from the 70s was mentioning all these characters they met. And if you watch it on the channel, I went to Green Street. We filmed it in over 3 episodes. And one of the guys with us, he didn't know that the sports bar's no longer there, so it hit him live while we're filming, and he's like, "You got to be joking me, mate! What the hell have they done?" And I'm like, "Oh, you didn't know? It's all right. The statues are there, but apart from that, Nathan's has gone. Berlin pub is a very upmarket / restaurant type bar now. Queens I never used to go into, but my friends said, yeah, still there.
I used to go in Queens eventually.
Yeah, and then I found out where that Italian cafe used to be, Casatari's. I think we filmed there where that used to be because I didn't know where that was. So you find out all kinds of things there, really, mate. So interesting, really. So just peanuts, really. Wow.
We used to have when you're looking at the North Bank, when you look at it from the pitch, on the right hand side, there was a lot of corner bar, and I used to go in there sometimes because you could drink during the game. But you didn't want to do that much because you couldn't get out the ground to go to the toilets.
Where was the bar then exactly? Whereabouts was it then?
When you're looking at the North Bank, right in the very corner, when you're looking at the North Bank from the pitch, on the right hand side at the top, and then it used to be facing the North Bank, and then you could walk down from there, and there was a railing, and you could lean against that railing, and literally no one was in front of you, and you could stand there having a drink. And if there was about 3, 4, 5 of you, one person used to take it in times to go up to that bar, buy a drink, and that was during the game.
Wow, God, that's not bad. The other thing I forgot to ask John was there any Eintracht Frankfurt fans in the ground, mate?
Yeah.
They
They had a good team. They had a couple of World Cup winners from '74. What was his name? Oh, I've forgotten his name. The winger. He was a good blonde-haired winger. He would be blonde being German, wouldn't he? But yeah, they had 2 players who were in the World Cup winning squad, I think. I'm not sure whether they started. I think one of them started. Siggy Held. That's him. Siggy Held. I'm sure that was him. He played for them. They had a good team. They played well out there. And I didn't go out there. Just watched the highlights on television.
Well, John went to the Finland game, the one John on last night. He actually went there with 3 of his friends and made a whole week of it. And he got back to UK via boat from Finland. So he had a bit of an adventure, mate. So that's the thing with the Eintracht, mate. I had my tickets booked, but I don't have any company to go with. And that's the difference. I think a lot of people used to go away and do now. They go in groups of 2, 3, 4, and then it kind of prompts you to go a bit more and motivate you to go. And I'm like, I didn't have a ticket, and I thought, Nick, I ain't gonna bother going all the way there just to watch in a bar. Can't be asked. I mean, some people are doing that. They're going without a ticket, but
I went to Genk earlier this season.
How's that? Good? Enjoy it?
It was good. Apart from the journey back, because of COVID, they wouldn't let me on the plane. They said I didn't have the right forms, even though I had exactly the same forms as everyone I was with. They didn't believe that I did my job, so they didn't let me on the flight. But the next day, they let me on the flight with exactly the same forms. So I had to sleep on the floor in the Brussels airport overnight without, because they didn't let me on the plane.
I had the same problem with Vienna, mate. I went there and I forgot to do the test before you go back on the flight. And I thought they're joking. I said, here's my proof. I've been double. And they go, no, we need something else. And I had to book another hotel, another flight the following morning, mate. And it's not fun.
I didn't.
But it is what it is.
I went to Genk and I didn't tell my wife a lie. I didn't say I haven't got a ticket. I didn't tell her I had got a ticket. She assumed I had a ticket, but I didn't. So I went there, just watched the game in a bar. There was thousands of West Ham fans going around. I got really smashed, and she found out afterwards that I didn't have a ticket. She wasn't happy. She went, "You could have gone up the local pub and watched it." No, so it's a bit different being there. She doesn't understand, but.
That's why I only go to home games, mate. That takes enough out of me with my journey. I think away would be. I would personally wouldn't do home and away. It's too much. I think.
I don't do many away. Just can't get a ticket now. Just literally cannot get a ticket. Not enough points on my home season ticket. So.
But going back to the game, Nick, we were 1-0. We were 1 goal deficit from the first leg going into this game, and. Do you remember if we were confident going into this with 1 goal sort of to catch up with at home? Yeah.
Well, we were quite confident because it was only 2-1 and away goals counted double then. Then we went 3-1 up. 3-0 up. And
it was 0-0 in the first half. And what they're saying is that the Hammers started well, but again, Mervyn Day is perhaps slightly busy at the other end. And what John was telling me is back then a lot of fans were nervous about Mervyn Day. He
Yeah,
wasn't quite at it, you know.
he'd
He was
lost a
young
lot.
player of the yeah. Yeah.
He started off 73. God, he was good. He was like brilliant. And then he made a couple of mistakes and his confidence went. And I don't think he's a confident person anyway for being a professional footballer. And you've got to be confident as a goalkeeper. And
But yeah.
leading up, the year after he got slaughtered, 77, he got slaughtered by the fans, and it made him even worse. But when they scored, it was quite near the end, I think, wasn't it?
Well, what happened was 0-0 at half time, and I was saying to someone, Brookings scored after 49 minutes, mate. So while you're having your halftime drinks or whatever, I hope you got back to where you were to watch it, because sometimes in the London Stadium, I used to miss the goals that happen on 44 minutes, 45, 46. So
Yeah.
it's the Brooking header, which doesn't happen too often. Lampard crossed it in, and Brooking guided it into the top right-hand corner, really. And the place went mental, didn't it?
It was just unbelievable. I was in the middle of the goal, behind the goal. Then I didn't stand up near that bar, and it was just, well, you just literally got moved with the crowd.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, God,
It was, thinking about it, it was dangerous.
I was just about to say that. You
But
get lifted off your feet or something.
yeah, you literally did sometimes get lifted off your feet.
Oh my God.
And you moved about 10 foot away. You
Oh
were a totally different place than where you first started before the goal went in. That was, sometimes I look back and I think, blimey, that was dangerous.
I mean, when I look back at photos of the areas like North Bank, the Cop, huge sort of areas behind the goal of people. What about if you wanted to? Yeah, I wonder if you wanted to go to the. A lot of people now at the London, they keep getting up to go to the toilet, to do something else. I suppose back then you're there, aren't you? You're not going to get out.
You didn't move. You didn't, I mean, unless you were on the edge, which you didn't move. There were signs on the entrance in, saying "Remember Ibrox." So be careful.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a sign there on the way out, because there was only, when you're looking at the ground, when you're looking at the stand on the left-hand side, that was the main entrance exit, and the other side had a very small exit entrance, and the one on the left-hand side, looking at the stand, that was the one that took you out in front of the main stand, which ended up being the Doc Martens Rio Ferdinand stand when they changed the ground. But a lot of time, if you turned up late, there was massive queues outside to get in, and it used to come out into the street.
Yeah. Jesus, yeah.
I never turned up late. I always made sure I got there early to get in. I used to like to stand in the middle of the North Bank. But that night, I was glad I wasn't in the South Bank, because I've stood in the South Bank twice, and if it rained a lot, you would have got soaking wet. So I was glad I was in the North Bank, because it chucked it down through the game.
Did you paid cash? You paid cash on the day, didn't you? Like everyone else.
Yeah, paid cash. Didn't have cards then. My God, no.
I know.
Great night. Great atmosphere. Everyone coming out of the ground was going mad. Yeah, it was brilliant atmosphere.
Yes, it does. European night.
On that mud, we played phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and they were, good team.
I think they got rattled a bit. The fans. I mean, the German players have probably got a little bit, with the crowd and everything, and
taking calls and stuff like that. They weren't. I don't know about German football then, because you didn't see it, but I would imagine they didn't have anything like that, and their grounds are generally got running tracks around them. A lot of them. Again, I don't know whether they did them, but their grounds did. I'm not sure if the semi-final was played at their home ground or a.
It says that game, the first leg, was played at. Let me just have a quick look. Okay, it's their own historic walled stadium home. Okay, in front of 45,000 people.
Yeah. I'm sure. Remember, if I can't remember, I'm sure it had a running track around it. I think it did. Well,
Yeah, a
if
lot
not,
of them did, didn't they, back in those
yeah,
days? Yeah, a lot
it,
of them did,
it
I
was
think. Yeah.
definitely further away. So when they come to the Boleyn, they wouldn't have known anything like that. I've seen team European games, and you could visibly see players thought, "Oh my God, what's this?" Because the crowd was so close. You know,
I
they
was
used
about to say that. That's yeah. It was one of the, even for English sort of standards,
yeah,
it was very close. Yeah.
they used to get pinched when they were taking a corner. People used to, pretend they were patting them on the head, but hit them a lot harder than they
I remember
should.
the corners that Devonshire Brooking used to take. They always had a little pat on the back, didn't they, on their shoulders, and that gave for a corner.
Foreign lads, it would have been scary. Yeah, of course it would. Yeah.
I remember Tony Gale saying that if there was some aggro from some winger, he used to nudge him into the chicken run, like so they go
Yeah.
running into that corner, and he
Yeah.
goes, "There's a few that never came back."
That's Redknapp was called the chicken run winger.
Oh, right.
That was obviously one half of the game. He used to run up and down, and Billy Bonds was his minder. And yeah, if any opposition players had a go at Redknapp, then Billy Bonds used to have a go over to them too.
Yeah. But anyway, 67th minute, mate. Yeah, I mean, every goal is really good in this game. I forgot to think about Robson, 67th minute. Keith Robson, I think he wasn't quite having a good time back then. They said that was his first goal since November, and it is that long range goal, isn't it? That's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it went behind him a bit, and the crowd went, "Ooh!"
yeah.
He didn't control it well, and then he just flashed it in. Yeah, great shot. It was, it was hard as well in the dark rain. It was hard to see a lot of it, to be honest, because it was just the crowd in front of you.
Did it carry on raining throughout the game, or did it stop before and that was it?
I think it stopped a bit. I think it stopped at some point. Once again, it's hard to tell because when you're behind the room, you can't see, and it's like, is it raining or not? All I know is the pitch was an absolute quagmire from start to finish. Absolute, unbelievable.
Yeah. Brooking, 78th minute, 3-0 up. Again, nicely placed by Brooking, good finish. And I'm not sure. I don't think he got into it. Was he playing for England back in those days? 76?
Yeah, he played for England.
He got in early. I know.
He made his debut in 74 for England.
Wow. I mean, those days, obviously, one club man, and I think Brian Clough wanted him once, didn't he? Wanted to sign him, and
him and Bobby Moore.
Yeah. So luckily he stayed on, and we went down, and he was worried about his England place under Greenwood, but it's fine. But what like John was saying last night, when Bubba scored in 87th minute, I think everyone got nervous in the ground because if they got one more,
it would have only been another goal. And I thought, I remember right, it was right because when you were stood in the North Bank, you couldn't always see the goal in front of you because it was so close. So when you were stood there like this, if you looked down, literally directly down, you couldn't see the goal, and you couldn't see the corner flags a lot of time. If you were stood at a place in the North Bank, so everyone had to keep poking forward to try and see. So if somebody crossed the ball, you couldn't see it. And I think it stuck in the mud a bit, if I remember correct. The ball stuck in the mud a bit, and that's how they scored slightly.
Well, they should have scored before then because I think it's cleared off the goal line twice, and they're shouting for a penalty, Nick, if you remember. Where is it Lampard that hits his chest? I think something like that.
Well, I think it was a penalty. Yes.
They were going mad, mate. They ran after the referee, and
Now I'm reminded that I thought that was a penalty, but it wasn't. So we had a bit of luck for once.
Yeah, and obviously, we got through somehow, and these were the headlines the following morning. Terrific, Trevor. Brooking the master as the Hammers zip to the final, mate. And obviously, you said after the match, what kind of scenes were outside the ground on the way home, mate, and on the train?
Going mad, cheering, and hugging each other, and it was it was brilliant. The whole atmosphere from the start to finish of the game was brilliant. Just phenomenal evening. Super. I've never been in an atmosphere like that. I can't put into words how good that atmosphere was that night. Just out of this world, brilliant.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to do a separate program on the final and things like that. But it's weird how European, especially under the floodlights, it kind of brings out that kind of atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this season, isn't it? Seville, Olympic Lyon. What a difference to ordinary league games. I mean, everyone. I didn't sit down all the way through both those games.
I mean, similar to COP and everything, but I know you're not allowed to bring flags into the ground and things like that. Perhaps that helps and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think the Sevilla one was the best one.
Yeah,
for me. That was really good. I got there early. I got half a day off tomorrow, so I'll be there. So yeah, I mean, what a historical night. I mean, I wasn't going to do this show. We were going to do the 1981 as we were talking about, Nick, but I thought it was a good time to put this one in here leading up to this game. Got one more to do tonight, and I love history. And my dad used to go back in those days. He didn't go in this game, but certainly we didn't know what is. Because like you said, back in those days, people would understand there was hardly any live football. Maybe half the games used to be shown as highlights on Match of the Day in the big match. The rest, if you didn't go, you never saw the goals, did you? So
never saw anything.
But you are lucky, Nick. You went. You are part of history, mate. So it was well worth going to that, and I'm glad I got hold of you, really, and John and people like that. So, any final thoughts, mate, before we call it a close? I've taken nearly half an hour of your time, so really grateful for that. Any? Who was your favourite player at that time? That's another thing I like to ask.
Yeah. Billy Bonds.
Everyone's going to say Bonds are Brooking, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, Billy Bonds was just so good. I mean, Trevor Brooking was just phenomenal. Just he was just just a class footballer. But Billy, he won. He'll look up and say he wasn't the best footballer, but God, did he try every game? He just what you want the footballer to be: walk out on the pitch, try his hardest. If he ain't good enough, he ain't good enough. But my God, when he walked off, you knew that he tried.
Two final questions for you just come to my head. Is obviously you were collecting shirts all the time, but from what I can see is in the crowd, not many people wore the shirts. I see the scarves. Yeah. Where was the shop then to buy? Was it in the port cabin? Was that always there back then?
Yeah. At the beginning, I could not get in the 60s. I could not get, or my mum couldn't get a proper West Ham shirt, and you had to have something that was close. But it was about my first 1968. I got my first home shirt. I've got two of the classic claret with the two hoops away shirts. I got two of those. That's my favourite kit ever. That one. Yeah. But
I like the Adidas ones because that's kind of me growing up. I think I'm fond of them. Yeah.
I'm a Buckter then. The ones I've got from the 60s are Buckter. 75.
Oh, right.
Buckter. Loads. Absolutely loads. Most of my books are signed by players. If it's their autobiography, I'll get them to sign the book.
Yeah. So the first one I read was John Lyle's, Just Like My Dreams. I think that was the first one I bought.
I've got his autograph in that.
Yeah, I got most of them. Brooking and people. There's a few I still got to read, like Clyde Best. I've got to read it yet. I've got it, but I've got to read it. Wardy's one I've read, but yeah, there's a good few ones out there. There was one more question I had, and it's gone by my mind, isn't it? It was the shirt one, which we went through. Oh God, what's the other one? Favorite players we've done. There's one more bugging me now.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's not going to come to me. I think can't remember now, but can't remember. Was it? We've gone through the shirts, the food, the programs, Germany fans, where you used to live.
My favourite ever player is obviously Bobby Moore. When I was a kid, first started as a watch us, look at us, take interest in West Ham. The first hero was Jeff Hurst. That's because you always pick a forward because they score the goals, don't they? So, you think, oh, yeah, he scores goals, he's the best. It didn't take me long to realise how good Bobby Moore was. So he was my favourite footballer ever playing for us. But my first hero was Geoff Hurst, simply because he scored the goals.
I think what you notice about those premium players is they always seem to have more time and space than anyone else. I don't know how they do it, and they make it look easy.
Yeah.
Obviously, what frustrates me about the modern game, Nick, is I'm a traditional 4-4-2 man. I like two up front. I like a proper striker like Cotti, who creates space, and a striker's meant to get. And obviously with Antonio, I'll go nuts half the time because there's no one in the box. How many times we're running down or we're attacking? You look up, there's no one in the box, mate. The way we play, can't moan. We're 6th in the league in the semi-final, but under John Lyle, and that's another thing. The style of the football that night, Nick. Oh my God.
Yeah, the style that
Barcelona, mate, one touch, very fast. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's the training at West Ham. Everyone, you get taught from the beginning: touch, 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 one touch, lay off, one touch, move, all that.
Do you believe the game is that much faster than that? When I see John Lyle's teams from kickoff and our fullbacks are like wing backs very aggressively from the kickoff, I think we played with a lot of pace back in '86 as an example.
In comparison, you've got to remember the pitches slowed the ball down. But if that night, I mean, Jesus, it wasn't slow that night. It was actually that mud. It was quite quick.
Well, we'll talk about on another show, obviously leading up to that. But this is '76 is the year I think Alan Devonshire joined. I think at some point.
He did, yeah.
And
Made his debut at QPR. Oh, Jesus, was he?
I know we're going a bit off the track, but the first time they saw him, and I think he looked like he's never eaten like for a while. Yeah. He's so frail, but give him the ball at his feet, you can't catch him. So
your build up to this, you play your videos of different games.
Oh, the Wrexham goal, isn't it? I've got in there, haven't
I hadn't seen that since it happened, and I was looking at it going, that's the Wrexham goal in my head. God, I haven't seen that, and that was so good.
There's a funny thing about that. When you see that footage on that intro, I've only done it from the halfway line. Phil Parks actually gives the ball to him, but I ran out of memory because there's a shortage of memory when you do these things. So that he actually gets the ball a lot earlier than that, from Phil Parks rolling out to him. He runs through, I don't know how many players, the whole pitch. And there's only Steve, who's coming on tonight, told me that he was there. And that's how I found the goal on YouTube. And I thought, I've got to put this in. And like you rightly said, it's a goal not shown often and forgotten about. Were you there as well, there, Wrexham, were you?
I haven't seen it before. And instantly I went, that's the Wrexham away goal. Freaking hell, look at how good it was.
Yeah. He picks it up from, like you said, perhaps there's a goal like if Liverpool or United had scored, then a lot more people would know about it then. But I want to thank you for your time, Nick. I hope you have a lovely day, mate, and maybe even catch up with you tomorrow at some point. If you're in around a bit early, I'll give you a message. I'm usually in the supporters bar, or usually I just go in the ground depending on what time I get there, mate. But I know it's going to be heaving, very busy. So let's see if we can have another historical night and talk about it in years to come on that date. Then maybe someone else will interview me. It'll be great. But anyway, thanks for your time. Stay on for a minute. So I'm just going to close up now, and we'll just have a quick chat before you go, mate. So come on, you irons, and thanks a lot again, Nick.
All right, cheers.